I don't think now anyone could ever stop me from being confident or ever. I don't think there's anything that could ever phase me, really. Now I'm just so thrilled to be here and so confident in myself.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host Indira, and today I'm excited to bring to you a fantastic conversation with the incredible Lucy Jones. She's someone who's taken podium positions at major championships, huge amounts of times off her PBs this year, including a 2:30 in the first marathon she's sort of trained for, a 4:10 in the 1500 and 15:44 in the 5K. Lucy's journey is very inspiring, from being a talented junior to becoming burnt out in the States, losing her love for running and thinking she'd never return, until stumbling back into the club environment by chance and finding somewhere that was truly fun and supportive. And as a result, she's found a renewed sense of self-confidence, enjoyment and happiness within the sport, and this has been reflected in her times. She touches on a number of very important points, including the struggles and challenges around puberty for girls, and also some of the challenges women face in terms of finding confidence for racing and enjoying the sport. So many great points made in this episode, and I'm really excited to bring it to you. Okay, let's get straight into things. Hi, Lucy, how are you? And welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, absolute pleasure. I mean, I think your running journey's kind of captured the attention of the running media of late, definitely. And I mean, would you say, have you surprised yourself? Do you think this was a long time coming?
Yeah, I think I've shocked myself a bit. But yeah, as you said, I think it probably was a long time coming. I obviously have been involved with the sport for years, so yeah, I've just been running since I can remember, and yeah, it's been just really nice to see some progression and yeah, be enjoying it really with the girls at the top. Can't complain.
No, a great way to be. And I love how you mentioned sort of enjoying it and seeing that progression there, because yeah, you definitely have. I mean, just the diversity of what you've performed at high level at this year is absolutely incredible, you know, from the 800 to that 2:30 marathon. I mean, it's absolutely insane, almost unheard of. I heard some random people saying an athletics match the other day. So yeah, no, for sure, there's a lot to dive into. And yeah, I think that actually when you look at your history, it's not so surprising the results you're getting now. You know, there was a lot of evidence of you being a good athlete from a young age.
Yeah.
But yeah, on that note, do you want to maybe start off with kind of this season then? You know, you've taken huge amounts of time off all of your PBs and really taken things kind of to the next level in a way.
Yeah, I suppose I think it all kind of kicked off probably about this time last year. I had moved to London about sort of 9 months before that and sort of jumped in with Hine Hill and solidified myself like within their training group and just honestly just found my feet. Just really have been enjoying it and absolutely love my group of friends and the support system at Hine Hill and the people I've got around me are just sort of second to none. I couldn't have wished for anything better. So I think honestly, I would credit my progression or my sudden sort of like jump in performance to sort of those around me and those that I've managed to support myself with. Obviously consistency in training and things like that is also a big bonus, but yeah, it's definitely the support system and just how much fun I'm having. And yeah, just saw a lot of progression throughout the winter over cross country, and I absolutely love cross country, so we're sort of thriving. And then just really wanted to take that fitness onto the track and just see what I could do. I really did shock myself a bit with the times that I've managed to sort of pull out, but I think I kind of always knew they were in there. And yeah, I'm just so pleased that yeah, that it's all gone to plan, and I've just enjoyed it. So I don't have any complaints, which I keep saying to everyone for some reason.
It's so great to hear that. And I think, you know, so many people speak about when they're happy, their running's happy. You know, the two and go hand to hand for sure. And yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, you finished 13th at Liverpool, the European trials, 4th in the National Cross Country Championships. And then you've come onto the track this year. You know, you've gone 4:10 in the 1500 off 4:25, 9:04 of 9:47, 15:44 of 16:53. And obviously, you know, you've taken over 20 minutes off your marathon time with that 2:30. So aside from kind of the enjoying it then, was there a specific sort of plan? Were you aiming for anything or just kind of leaning into?
Yeah, I actually quite like that. I haven't actually thought about that, but I suppose like leaning into it would be the way that I sort of did things. I honestly, there's nothing special that I've done. It's literally just I have probably been the most consistent I've been for the last year and a half since I was about probably 18. And that's not through not being able to train or injury or anything like that. Touch would have been lucky enough to sort of never have any injuries that have stopped me, but more in terms of like being confident enough to just jump into training for a year and a half and race consistently without fear of like the results, and really just not care and just enjoy it and do running for running and compete for competing and not for being stressed about, you know, getting a certain time or being embarrassed. So I think that was predominantly the change. And then also just having, again, like I genuinely cannot reiterate, I just had so much fun. I've just had so much fun. And all my, like, I'm genuinely so excited to go to training on a Tuesday and be around all my friends, and it's where my social group is. So yeah, it's just been a lot of that. And obviously when you're so happy and really just surrounded by the best people, I probably would say I haven't, touch wood, missed a session in a year and a half. Like that might be the big sort of deciding factor. I've been super consistent, I think. And then in terms of like the breadth of the reason I was probably able to perform across the board is I sort of just did cross because I got a good base in the winter, and then all of my friends were again, all the guys that I trained with were doing the marathon. It was never really I chose to do the marathon because I thought it was the best sort of event for me. I just wanted to do it because everyone was doing it and everyone was training for it, so I didn't want to be left out. So the marathon just happened because of that, and I took a big chunk off of the marathon time just because I was running consistently this year and compared to last. And then on the track, I suppose I kept a lot of speed in my training and just I really like track sessions, so I kept them throughout winter and into my marathon block as well. So it was never really too tough to adjust to the track, so I think that really helped me there. But yeah, nothing super wise.
No, loads of great stuff there. And I think firstly it'd be really cool to touch on kind of, you mentioned fun and really finding fun in it, being the first time since you were 18. And you know, in 2017 you went out to the States on what looks like kind of an undergrad initially. So what kind of happened? I mean, you're a good junior, you know, you competed for England, you were always kind of up there. Where do you think maybe the lack of fun started to creep in? And
I think probably about going out to America. I think I feel like with America you either fall on your feet and get a really good program, or you're a little bit unlucky and don't necessarily fall into a program that suits you, and I was unlucky to be the latter. I just got burnt out really. I really truly wanted to perform, and I think I put a lot of my pressure on myself, and obviously when you're on a scholarship they also put a lot of pressure on you as well. So I just it was just I wasn't super happy and it didn't work for me. No matter how hard I tried, I really wanted to make it work. So, and then I came back to transferred back to Birmingham and finished my degree at the Uni of Birmingham. And while I found my feet really well in running and had a really nice coach and sort of got involved with sport and never really stopped, I carried this like lack of confidence and like sheer embarrassment of just not believing in myself all the way through uni really, and continued until sort of like I left uni. I was just embarrassed. I think every time I'd get super fit I'd race and it wouldn't match up to sort of what my expectations were and what I felt the external expectations were, which there really was none. And I just, it was just, there was a bit of a misalignment there. And I think the second part is, obviously I came back from America. I obviously you have to kind of work while you're at uni. So I was managing sort of 2 jobs and a degree and running at the same time. So I actually feel like once I've started working full time and I've just got like 1 full-time job and one and just running to do, it's actually got a little bit easier for me than it was at uni. I was like really having to juggle so much at uni. So I think I have to be a little bit kind to myself in the fact that uni was actually I had a lot on my plate. So I think that's also been a nice change.
Not every day you hear someone say just the running and just the full-time job. And just quickly on that, was that the job whilst you're in the States or when you came back?
No, when I came back. So obviously I was on a full
sense.
scholarship and I didn't have to work while I was in the States. I was just studying. But yeah, when I came back, obviously the maintenance loan only gets you so far. So I was like really having to top up like on rent and things like that. So, but as everyone has to. So
yeah, God, it is a tough time. I mean, costs are just going up and really not down where they need to go.
I know.
But I mean, I think you've touched on something really interesting there as well. And you mentioned embarrassment, which is very interesting. I don't necessarily think that maybe a male in that position might say that, but it's so common amongst so many women. And it's so common to have that mismatch between training and then racing. And it's almost like people put more effort in, they want it more, and it backfires, which is just so counterintuitive
100%.
and makes no sense.
Yeah, I think like you probably every athlete experiences it. And I think what happened for me is you have to race yourself fit and you have to practice. To get good at racing, you have to practice. And so you have to start somewhere. And I think I was feeling embarrassed because I probably was performing nowhere near what sort of I was in training, but I wasn't giving myself the 6 months or the year to like adjust back to what it feels like to race or anything like that. So it was just a vicious cycle of like getting super fit, racing, feeling really embarrassed, then thinking, okay, I'm not doing it, I'm too embarrassed, getting unfit, and then wanting to try again, so getting fit again. And it just went like that while I was at uni. But to be honest, I had a really nice group of friends. I still trained and like I still kept fit, and it didn't matter too much to me. Like I still enjoyed it. So and I'm here today, and I don't think it's taken anything away from me having not done it through uni. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess sort of a final comparison around that, you talk about maybe some of that external pressure and really wanting to perform. At that time when you're in the States, what was motivating you and what was driving you from a personal perspective as well?
Yeah, so I just really, really wanted to do well. I think I've always loved the sport and I've always like been super competitive and really, really wanted to, be sort of the best I can be in athletics or whatever sport it is. So yeah, it was more probably just internal like wanting to progress it, like drive, I suppose. So that sort of kept me driven for the sort of 2 years that I was there. But yeah, I think it wasn't a super encouraging environment. And I just found it quite tough. At 18, you're very impressionable and your confidence is easily knocked, I feel like, at that age. So and it was for me, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't believe in there ever being wrong decisions. Every decision's the right decision for that time. It's a learning moment and it's valuable. But I guess reflecting on that experience, what do you think caused you to have the most learning then from maybe, going out at such a young age?
Yeah, I think that I sat here today, I am worlds apart from even 2 years ago, having finished at Birmingham and even at 18 going out to America. Like I absolutely would not be the athlete that I am having had it have not gone that way. And I think I'm actually thrilled that it's gone that way because I've sort of crawled my way back to the sort of nearer the top of sort of the best athletes in the country.
Absolutely.
And I don't think now anyone could ever stop me from being confident or ever. I don't think there's anything that could ever faze me, really. Now I'm just so thrilled to be here and so confident in myself, and I'm so grateful that I don't think there's anything that could really bother me. So I'm like, and I don't think it would have been that way had it all been smooth sailing. I, like everyone, probably would have hit a roadblock at 25, 26, probably about now, and really struggled. So I just got all my struggling out of the way. And now I feel like I'm at the perfect age to like really go for it. So yeah, I think I learned a damn lot. Probably America taught me the most.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic to hear. And I think it's so true, you know, there is always a reward sort of at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah.
And the worse it is at the time, the more you genuinely do gain and grow.
Yeah.
And is there one thing in particular that you think, you know, you've spoken about confidence, which is absolutely fantastic, but outside of that, is there anything else that you think's really changed?
Yeah, I think, well, my support system, obviously my family have always been there, and my partner, but I think that I've surrounded myself with people that genuinely really want to do well, and I really genuinely want them to do well. So I think having your support system, and even if that support system is quite small, or I think that is the most important thing for me. Is like, I couldn't stand here and be as confident as I am and really go for it every day if I didn't have those people around me that were encouraging me and really believing in me. And obviously, like, you can believe in yourself, but it just makes it so much easier when you have support around you and they're helping you through it, but you also helping them like day in day out. It's just I think you're sort of I was going to say a release, a product of your environment that you put yourself in. So I think for me, the environment that you're in, if you can cultivate a really nice one, is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. It's funny how much of an influence kind of what's around you and what you surround yourself with, you know, online in the real world. It just slowly seeps into you.
I know, it's insane. It is
crazy.
Insane.
And I mean, yeah, it comes right out the screen. You know, you can see that you're kind of in a good place. You've got this lovely, like, radiating positivity about you, which is really lovely. And I guess, finally, before we move on to maybe a bit more kind of the current now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the drive or way that you're kind of motivating yourself perhaps has changed since that time when, you know, you weren't getting as much enjoyment. But I assume that the competitive side, you know, the fire still burns there.
Yeah.
So, so how has it kind of shifted that you're able to kind of harness the competitiveness and the drive and the motivation for the best, but leave behind the kind of internal prison of kind of fear of failure, maybe?
Yeah. Well, it's exactly that. I'm not scared of failing anymore. I think it just clicked. I joined High Hill, and then I've got a lovely coach, Jeff. He kind of like, I joined High Hill on a recommendation of my best friend and I'd stopped running at the time. Like, I was working full time. I just moved back from Dublin, and I wasn't really running. I didn't think I would ever compete again. And she was just like, please come down to the track. Like, it's so social. Just come and do a few sessions. Like, I think you'll just love the environment. It'll be perfect for you settling into London. I went down, and I kid you not, I literally didn't look back after that. I started sessioning with the crew and like just fell back into like 3 sessions a week and absolutely loved it. And then my coach Jeff, like, was very kind and welcoming, but he also just let me come to him. He never ever kind of pressed or reached out or asked me to race. He sort of just slowly let me suggest, or maybe I'll run at the Surrey League, or maybe I'll do the National Road Relays, just like a bit of fun. And then it just sort of progressed from there. And I just slowly decided to race. And then once I decided to race, I thought, I'm absolutely loving this. I couldn't care less where I come or what times I run. It just suddenly was like, I just didn't care. And that's all I needed. I needed permission from myself, probably, just to run and enjoy it and not even be bothered. and just do it for what it is. And yeah, and then I just slowly it all got better.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great. I think as you get older, you do kind of gain that maturity as well, where you do start to care a bit less. It's, oh, this is so much nicer.
Yeah,
What
it's
was younger me
lovely.
doing?
Yeah, it's lovely. And I think, I mean, as young athletes, probably everyone goes through it, where especially if you've hit the top, especially at a young age, you suddenly feel all pressed that you've got to carry on that way forever. But actually, everyone like ebbs and flows, and if you can give yourself the chance to not feel so stressed and yeah, not so worked up about it, I think more often than not, it goes better that way, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's so important to lean into life. You know, you can't control life, but you can control what you do with it.
Exactly.
How you approach it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting as well. You mentioned there kind of not having that pressure on racing, you know, an environment where you were able to just kind of enjoy it. And I think that can be rare sometimes. There's so much pressure. Well, if you're training, well, of course you're going to race. Why would you just train?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's so important to kind of allow that to also be a way of validly participating in the sport. And I guess, yeah, different environments work for different people. But you mentioned there, of course, you know, you stopped for a bit, you were working full time, you made that move. Do you want to talk us through where you were at maybe prior to that and kind of what you do at the moment in terms of work and running?
Yeah. So I finished uni and took a grad scheme in Dublin in Ireland and lived there for a year, which was super cool. I actually met my best friend Amy. She's an Irish international athlete, and she was actually the one that also really encouraged me just to start racing and like just give it a go, and who cares. And we both actually ran 2 1,500 meter PBs this year together in the same race, which is like insane because she's not ran one in sort of 4 years, and for us to both do it together was lovely. So yeah, I lived and worked there for a year, and then I moved to London after the grad scheme in with my boyfriend, and yeah, just kind of settled in. And I've been working full time. I'm a project manager basically, and yeah, it like no looking back at the moment, to be fair.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, just running as around work as much as I can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, love a project manager, you know, got to have that person keeping the project going. But how have you found kind of managing the two, and have you found that it's been better for you with kind of a full-time job as opposed to maybe that setup when you're at uni? I mean, I know you had the 2 jobs and everything, but having that structure, is that something you feel you thrive on?
Yeah, I think that at least while I was getting back into racing and stuff, I think I like to not have my full identity on running. I think it's really important to have other things in your life, and I think that I do like having something else. I think it's really important. I think with things like getting injured, or if athletics was to ever be taken away from you, I think it's really important to have at least a large percentage of your identity where you can say, oh, I'm Lucy, I'm a project manager, I absolutely love music, or something else that's like not, because then it's not as deep for you if you know if things do sort of change. But I think now I'm at the point where I'm like, ooh, I would love to be able to do a little bit more training, which I'm definitely constricted by quite a stressful job and having, like, you know, as everyone would, a lot of hours taken up in the day by working. But so in the future, if I continue with progression, I'd absolutely love to get the opportunity to slightly drop down my days or hours or things like that. But yeah, I think that for now, like, it's okay and it's manageable. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, any brands listening, you know, Lucy might be in the market for some negotiation. Just saying.
Might be.
And yeah, it definitely is a balance. And, you know, a lot of people talk about the struggles with recovery and that being kind of the ball that can get dropped when balancing the full-time job. So do you want to run us through maybe a typical week? You know, are you a 5 a.m. in the gym kind of person, or,
Absolutely,
you know, how are you squeezing it in, and how's the recovery?
So so my typical week will probably be on a Monday, I will do about an hour's run, easy, and then an evening gym. And I will try and I can work from home on a Monday, so I'll try and fit the run in before work, and then gym in the evening. Tuesday, it's just an evening session because obviously we're sessioning with the club. And so that's super easy, like everyone's working, so it doesn't make any difference. Wednesday, I'll just probably do like 6 or 7 miles easy and a gym again. Thursday, again, it'll be in an evening session, and maybe a grass session or hills or track, depending on where we are in the year, with the group. So that's all fine. I'll always take a rest day on Friday because for me, I just think it's important to have one day in my week that's not running related, that I can just, chill and not even think about it. And then Saturday, I'll session again with the group. It'll just be like a morning. And Sunday will just be a long run on a Sunday morning. So in the winter, I did manage to get the odd double in there, like 3 or 4 miles on the morning before a session day. But for the most part, that's about as much as I can fit in. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like recovery, it's literally I just don't do loads, to be fair. Just try and stretch occasionally, bit of rolling, as much sleep as possible. That's broadly the way I tend to go.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that sounds really balanced and, maybe quite minimal potentially compared to what perhaps some people might expect for the times that you're running. And I guess that just goes to show, aside from obviously the large amount of natural talent you have, the kind of quality and keeping that balance
I think so. Yeah,
can be so important.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think again, if I was to try and do a lot more, I think I would start. I would start to break down in terms of I'd probably get sick. I was lucky enough to not get ill. I was only ill for a couple of days through probably over the last year and a half, really. So I think I probably could push it a little bit more, but then I'd be edging on the cusp of like constantly getting ill. And I like to race a lot, and that takes a lot out of you. So I kind of probably step back a little bit in terms of like what maybe I could squeeze a bit more in, but I think I would lose a bit in the long term if I pushed it too much, kind of. Obviously, if I ever get the opportunity to drop a day or two from work, it's not that I don't want to train more. If I got that opportunity, I would. But yeah, for now, it's what works for me.
Definitely. I think that speaks to a really important point, actually. It's taking the situation you're in and working with it. Like you say, if you had that more time that you could give, more attention to some of those details, that recovery, you would do it. But since you're not in that position, you're making the sensible decision. And I think that's where maybe sometimes things go wrong. It's the idea that, oh, you should just push.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
actually, there's a lot of merit in smarter over harder.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I guess then with your progression and, the balance you've got at the moment, the kind of enjoying it as the overarching thing for you, I guess, then as success has kind of gone up, how have you not let maybe that pressure get to you, or perhaps the kind of thoughts that, oh, if I just did a little bit more.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I feel like at some point I'm going to have to consider whether, like at some point the progression will plateau, and obviously I do want to keep progressing. So I will have to sit down and consider, if I drop a day or two here or there, that I will be able to train a bit more, and hopefully the progression will still be there. So I'll probably have to think about that over the next few months or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that in terms of I've not had a plateau yet, and training's still going really well, and I'm still progressing in training. So up until that point where I feel like I'm sort of stagnating, I think I'm fine.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay. It might be a different answer to your question in 6 months' time. Let's say if, maybe I don't get any quicker, or my performances just sort of consolidate at one level. But right now, I think I'm really happy with the way it's going, and I think the quality of my sessions are still allowing me to progress enough that I don't need to panic in terms of like cramming loads more in. And I think if Jeff's super smart, and I think I know my body quite well, and yeah, we've not seen any plateaus yet, touch wood. So for now I think I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
yeah,
it
exactly, that's what I think.
definitely
100%.
Yeah, I guess for you then, it sounds like the approach you've got at the moment is really working for you. What would you say maybe are like 3 things that you focus on, you know, when you come to train?
Yeah, so I think that, well, my biggest thing, and I was thinking about this when I was reading through the questions, my biggest thing, and I've mentioned it already, is making sure that you have fun as much as possible. I think that as soon as I realised that it was more important for me, for example, throughout the marathon block, to keep my Tuesday track sessions in, irrespective of whether that worked for my programme, just because I love Tuesdays and I love seeing everyone and I love running with the club. I sort of sat down with Jeff and said, if I'm to do this marathon, that aspect of training is too important for my mental health and how much I love it to take out. So we need to just work the whole block around making sure that they stay in there. And I think that making sure that my week is set up in a way to just get the most fun out of it, even if that means sometimes obviously sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do to get better, and that's fine, but you have to be kind to yourself, and sometimes you have to understand that having fun and being kind to yourself and doing the things that you enjoy, even if they're not necessarily the 100% perfect thing to be doing, it might actually, for me personally, it's the better way to go. So yeah, fun is like the main thing. Like whatever you can do in your week to make it as fun as possible, do that first. Second would be the support system. Again, you absolutely cannot understand the importance of those around you, and how who you surround yourself with is how you will view yourself. So just thanks to everyone that at my training, because I absolutely love them. And then the final thing would probably be sleep. Obviously sleep is like sort of one of the biggest impactors of performance and recovery. So I just make sure I get enough sleep most of the time. I'm usually a grumpy gal if I don't. So
I mean, who isn't?
So yeah, I'm not opposed to a lunchtime nap or like getting up right before my calls at 9 a.m, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So of course you talk about, keeping all the fun in, you know, you've got that great support system, being kind to yourself. I think that's something that so many athletes, so many people listening probably struggle with. I mean, everything's going well, kind of, you know, from the overall picture, but surely you must have the odd session that doesn't quite go to plan, or the odd life event that comes crashing in and disrupts everything. So for you, what's your approach to a situation like that at the moment?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been loads of times, like plenty of times over the last year and a half where I've got to the track, got halfway through a session, been way off the back, and I'll just usually stop and just say, Jeff, I'm taking myself home. And he'll be like, all right, no worries. And because you can dig and dig and dig, and I know myself well enough to know when you should dig and when it's just it's grit that you need. But sometimes your body just says that's enough, or your mind just says that's enough today, I've had enough. So I think that I tend to just, again, I'm kind to myself. I let myself off quite a lot, to be fair, and maybe that might not be the right way to view it, but I think long term, if you can sort of protect your peace a little bit and mental health, it means that you can be super gritty when it comes to race day, because you've not like dug every second of every day. And like there's plenty of times where I've had things have hit the fan at work and I've missed training, or been literally at my laptop from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m, and just nothing's got done. And obviously it's not great, but you have to just roll with it. Like, what else can you do? You just got to be kind to yourself and just get on with it, I suppose. And it's also not that deep. Missing the odd thing here or there because of things that are going on with life are not going to impact you. If you try and cram everything in, that might. So yeah.
Absolutely, I love that. If you try and cram everything in, that's what's going to throw you. And you say
Yeah.
you kind of use the term let yourself off, but I think really we both know, and you alluded to it very much, that it's leaning into the situation, it's listening to yourself,
Yeah,
it's making
exactly.
that smart decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And for you, I guess then, you've had quite the journey in terms of coming back in the sport from a point where maybe you might have almost got lost, finding enjoyment, finding the things that really matter to you. And there's probably quite a lot of women and girls who've potentially gone through, say, a similar situation. What do you think made Herne Hill so special for you? And what things do you think the sport can do overall to maybe help create those environments where people do kind of find more than just running from themselves or chasing their demons?
Yeah, I think that, so firstly, Herne Hill was a biggest change for me because I'm like club runner through and through. I grew up Charnwood AC, based at Loughborough. My brother and sister are a lot older than me. They went to Charnwood. I then went to Charnwood, and it was just like my weekends and my evenings in the week, and it was just the whole childhood. And I genuinely don't think there's anything better than bread and butter club running. Like it's class. I genuinely don't think there's anything that tops it. And so I think that's why I've slotted in so well with Herne Hill, because it's just a club. It's just 250 of people of all ages on a Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday, running for in whatever discipline they're training for and just enjoying it. So that's why Herne Hill, I think, did so much for me, or has done so much for me, and Charnwood did so much for me as a youngster. And I think for me, in terms of like the sport and like youth sport, it would be getting kids into the club running and showing them the importance of not even just club running or like distance, just as in the community that athletics brings itself. As a youngster, before I went out to America, I was so confident and so sure of myself, and I had so many friends through athletics, and I just learned so many attributes and qualities that you would never ever learn as a youth if you weren't involved in club running. So I think that, not pushing club running, but like really advocating for these little tiny clubs in little villages all over the country, and bring everyone together would be a really good thing for the sport. And I think as well that I've got friends all over the country that I've known since we were sort of 11 or 12. Like one of my best training partners, Sophie Tooley, we actually grew up together. No, sorry, not grew up together. Raced against each other when we were young, very young. Made our first England team together at like 12 years old. Went to London Marathon camps and have like seen each other racing for years. Both went to uni and hadn't seen each other for about a decade, and then both ended up at the same time joining Herne Hill. And literally, I also don't think I'd have sort of progressed in the way that I have without her, because we just sort of looked at each other and said, shall we just go for it and not care? And without, like, the fact that we went through all that as a youth, through the club systems and competing together, and then have come together at sort of 26 again. And now like Sophie's running PBs that are like insane as well. That I just think that's amazing. And I think no one can ever take that away from you. And I think that is like the pinnacle of the sport, really. I think, yeah. I don't know if that was the right answer, but
there's no right or wrong. But from a personal perspective, I'd say I agree. I think, yeah, that social side, those friendships you make, those skills you learn are just invaluable and just such an amazing part of life. You can do whatever you want. You've always got that kind of extra thing in your life and a network of people all around the country. And
100%.
Sophie's really lovely, absolutely. So no, that's so nice. But I guess as well, you speak really highly there of the club system, and there's definitely so many merits, but it also gets such a, I guess, less great rep sometimes with some events being really dead, very minimal turnout, people not wanting to go to championships, people just kind of wanting to do the odd big race here or there, the odd time trial. Do you think, or what do you think maybe could help with bringing back a stronger kind of turnout?
Oh God, that's the $1 million question. I honestly feel, I think, well, and this would just be from my perspective, I think you need to, I think it's youth. I think, honestly, I think if you grow up within that club system, or like training with your friends at a really young age, you're so much more likely to stick in it up until 18. And even if you go to uni, I've seen so many people go to uni, maybe lose touch with it a bit and then come back. And yeah, I just think that, like, underpinning like youth sport with the club system is like really important. I think, I don't know if there's any other way. I know obviously there's other ways that individuals get into running, and there's a big boom in running in terms of run clubs and things like that. But I just think the vibe is so different. And while club running might get a different rep, it can be a little bit boring. Like some of the championships, there's barely anyone turns up, which is a massive shame. But I think if we can try and make athletics clubs as much of a community as they used to be, as much as maybe the run clubs are becoming, it might get people back into championships. But I also do feel like at the moment, road running is having a really big boom. And I think that's sort of where the money is at the moment. And I think that, so people are wanting to race those sort of events. So I think that perhaps is like seeing a shift from those championship sort of track races. But hopefully in years to come, with the likes of the Diamond Leagues and Grand Slam and things like that, hopefully sort of interest will pick up in terms of like track running and the championships there. But yeah, for me, it's like youth sport is the most important thing, because what you grow up with and what you enjoy from a young age, you tend to gravitate back towards. So yeah.
No, that's so true.
Do you agree?
No, it is, like you say, $1 million question. But yeah, for sure, getting kids in at a young age, I think, always makes such a big difference, and kind of capturing them there, keeping them through. And yeah, I think you make a great point there with kind of the money, and that is a side of the sport that it can be tough kind of for people at the top sometimes, what might be required and where money is and stuff. But, you know, like you've made a great case for this evening, I think it is about so much more sometimes than just the times, or perhaps what you can get from it if you know you do have another source of income, of course. And sort of talking of major championships there, then is there anything in particular, like major championship wise, you know, if you allow yourself to kind of dream like that, or maybe not so much dream, might be a pending reality for you, what for you would be kind of something you'd love to see yourself at?
Oh, anything. Anything. Honestly, I would snap your hand off for the opportunity to represent sort of England or GB at any major championships. Like, really, I'm not picky. But I think that I would love to represent GB, maybe potentially in the coming years at a track event, I think. But I equally, it's so tough. It is so tough. So I'm kind of like, I'm at a nice point where I'm running times that, you know, are respectable and are perhaps, you know, the progression's there. So potentially in a few years, I might be able to be doing something like that one day at a major champs. But I'm also, honestly, I'm just so grateful to be here that if I never ran faster again and I just consolidated at this level, I would still be really chuffed. So yeah, I'm like leaning in but going with flow and just like seeing what comes. And yeah, obviously I'll step back up to the marathon at some point, but I think when I do that, I would like it to be a decisive decision. So that might be in a couple of years from now. Yeah.
No, I love that. And yeah, I mean, it is tough, but I think you are very modest there in your response. You know, you are running amazingly, and you very much are kind of knocking on that door of, and very much at that top level. For sure.
Thank you.
And you know, you say you're not too fussy there. I mean, I think that kind of goes across what you race as well. You know, this insane range you've got. Is there a distance or a discipline that you would kind of consider yourself more of a specialist at, or one that you enjoy the most?
I I enjoy the 1500 meters the most. I wouldn't say I'm a specialist at that one, but I do love the 15. It's, yeah, I've always loved speed work. It's super fun and it's over really quickly, and yeah. But I'd say, I think long term, I do believe that the most potential I have is in the marathon. I just think that, yeah, I think physiologically and sort of mentally, I really felt at ease at that distance, and I loved every second. So I think that would be the one for me. But between now and whenever I decide to go for it over the marathon, I'd really like to, yeah, hopefully be world class at some, maybe potentially the 5 and 10K on the track, or the half, for example. But honestly, I still don't really know. I think I need another year. Ask me in 12 months. And I'll probably have more.
We will. We'll be back. No, that's fantastic to hear, and I think for sure that's not a dream. I think that's a reality waiting to happen in your case. And you talk there about the marathon being the one you're the most at ease at. I mean, I don't know how many people would say they feel at ease over 42 kilometers or 43, whatever it is, but is that kind of based on data? Is that based on feel? How do you kind of like to judge these type of things?
Yeah, I mainly feel, really. I just really enjoyed the training, and I just felt like I thrived on marathon day. I think a lot of people look at the 2:52 the year before and think that obviously was her first crack at marathon, but actually at the time I wasn't running. I did it for fun with a friend, and like I really wasn't training at all. So I kind of like, that is I feel like personally my first crack at marathon was this London this year. So, and with it going as well as it did, and just being able to negative split in the way I did, and just how I felt, how much I loved it, I think, yeah, I just feel I feel super confident in myself, most confident in myself, I think, over that distance. And I think I actually, and also I have, over the last few years, I have, obviously you do threshold testing and things like that, and broadly the data leans towards the marathon, which is ideal too, because it's great because I enjoy it. So yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I don't think you'd want it if the data said one thing and you felt the other. I think that'd be a little bit disheartening, maybe.
Exactly.
No, that's great to hear. And yeah, definitely great that you prioritize kind of feeling. And I can see, potentially based on what you've been saying about kind of the people and the social side meaning so much, that something like London sounds like it's got a real buzz about it, and a whole kind of event, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, and I guess now we're coming more towards the end of things, so wouldn't be a right episode if we didn't touch on it. But in terms of kind of the female athlete side of things, then, is there any areas, say like the menstrual cycle, that you've personally experienced a lot of challenges with around running, or anyone close to you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, especially with women and young girls, I think that just the amount that we have to cope with, it is insane. And I like take my hat off to all sort of women navigating athletics, and also young girls having to sort of go through puberty and everything. And I suppose one thing that stands out for me is I remember when I was 13, 14, hearing about really, really great athletes in my club struggling, going through patches of time where potentially what they were probably doing was going through puberty, and having a stagnation or sort of a plateau in their results as a result of probably puberty, and thinking to myself at the time, oh, that won't be me, I'll be fine, which is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously then getting to 16, 17, 18 and struggling, because it is a lot for your body to cope with and sort of readjust. And I think, I don't know what the answer is in terms of myself. And obviously I have attributed a lot of my sort of plateau or stagnation sort of from 18, 19 to 24 odd in just confidence. But actually, I think that a large part of female athlete progression through that period of time from sort of 16 to 26, more often than not, if you look across the board, a lot of women struggle and have like a really long period of time where they're not able to get a handle on their results. I remember actually Louise Shanahan posting something once, and it basically was alluding to the same sort of thing. Like, she'd had quite a few years where she'd sort of struggled, and then all of a sudden it all clicked. I'm not a scientist, I don't really know how it all works, but I do think that it is, that in itself is completely normal. And what I do want young athletes, and especially girls, to understand it is, if they are really talented junior and or just enjoy running and tend to do well at it and are really competitive, if they have a period of even 5, 6, 7 years where they feel like they cannot get a handle on whatever it is, puberty, their period, being on the pill, things like that, it is completely normal, and you absolutely will come out the other side. I just think being confident in yourself that you will, and being patient and being driven enough to just stick at it is enough. Like, yeah, I think that I think it's a really tough time and everyone goes through it, but all I want to do is like help young girls understand that they're not alone, and you will come out the other side, no matter how horrendous it all feels at the time and how much you feel you can't get hold of yourself. Yeah, it will be okay. Your body will click. I felt like I suddenly just kind of, honestly, when I turned 25, it was probably my frontal lobe developing, and all of a sudden everything was right in the world and I was fine. So yeah, in a roundabout way, I hope that helps.
Oh, definitely. I think, you speak so well of it there, and it is such an important and true message there. Something, there's science, and science can explain some stuff, but at the end of the day, also there's common sense, and there's looking at the patterns. And it's so many women, so many young girls, sort of between that, I don't know, under 17, maybe late under 15, right up to early 20s. It's just a roller coaster,
it really
all
is.
sorts of stuff. And you just have to, like you say, kind of ride it out and keep that hope that,
I think, like the main point I was going to say is, if you were talented as a youngster, you're not going to have just lost that talent. So just stick at it is the main thing.
Absolutely. And I think you're someone who really personifies that. You had the talent as a junior, you maybe didn't prioritize running as much, running didn't go as great as it maybe could have been, but then you found your happy place, and maybe that's such an important part too. And then you're able to bring your full self back to it on your terms. And
exactly,
that talent never went away. It was just, hidden under a stone or
waiting.
something. You lifted it off and bish bash bosh, there you go. Flying. No, and I guess that feeds into what you were saying earlier as well, with trying to keep more people in the sport, and that is one of the things that sadly for the female side of things can really send people off.
100%.
And I guess a final thought around that, in terms of races, often there's a lot more guys in a race than women, but we've got quite a lot of women running too, high quality athletes. Do you think that maybe amongst women the fear of failure can sometimes be greater, or there's other barriers to women racing as much, perhaps?
Yeah, I think, I do sometimes, I feel like I don't want to be unfair to boys, because I feel like they obviously have the same pressures as women, and do obviously want to do as do well as much as we do. But I do think that as women, in a lot of aspects in life, we do place a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we have a lot of like external pressures, and I just feel like it's always an uphill battle. So I do think there's slightly less representation. So I think that it is really important for girls that are maybe struggling at the time, or have struggled in the past, or like need a bit of advice, to be outspoken with issues like that. I suppose with race difficulties, with training difficulties, or any sort of issues really, because at the end of the day we've all been there, and having a familiar voice or like familiar experience is like quite helpful. And then I've forgotten the second part of your question.
Honestly, don't worry, it happens all the time. Just around kind of barriers. I think you've mainly covered it, really. Barriers to maybe women racing more so than men.
Yeah, I'd say it is that, like, probably embarrassment. I'd say thinking about the girls that I train with, and they wouldn't mind me saying this, when we all joined sort of Handhill together, it probably was a lot of the time like, oh, I don't know, I don't necessarily feel fit at the moment, or I'm embarrassed, or last race didn't go well, so I'm not gonna race for the next 3 months or whatnot. I think whereas boys might just throw themselves in and think, we'll just see what happens. Girls can be so much more, worried about the result, and worried about what people might say, or what might go on in Power 10, or what people might think. So, but I think trying to be, and obviously everyone's different, but trying to be the most relaxed version of yourself around racing is the best thing you can do. And yeah, but just understanding that this is the best thing I did, is just realizing that genuinely no one cares. Like, genuinely no one cares. Even to the right top athletes, like, no one actually cares how fast they're running. So it doesn't matter. And I also think, in terms of like athletics, I'm also like, what a lovely hobby to have. Like, what else would I be doing with my time? So I might as well go and run around a field on a Saturday morning, because what else would I be doing? So yeah. I don't know if that's silly, but
no, I completely agree. It's like, it's so easy, it's so accessible. It is a fantastic sport. Yeah. And you make great points there, and definitely I agree as well. I think sometimes it is the overthinking on the female side that can just put that pressure on, when really we all just need to lean into it and appreciate what we are doing a little bit more. And I guess coming to the end of our time now, so some quick fire ones to close out. And you kind of called this one, but if you didn't run, what would you be doing with that time?
Any other sport, probably. I absolutely love sport, so it'd probably be like women's football or netball or something like that. I just love sport, so anything.
Love that. Okay, something controversial. It could be a controversial training habit or a controversial practice you do. I don't know, something.
This is probably not that controversial, but I do a lot, like the majority of my runs with music. I absolutely love music, and I do so much of my, like, I probably wouldn't go for a run without headphones, so shoot me. I know a lot of people do, but I love music, so you wouldn't catch me dead.
Oh, I'm so with you. It's just, what could be better, running and music?
Okay,
favorite song, best song to run to?
I'd say God Is the Space Between Us, Barry Can't Swim. Ooh. It's house music.
Very nice. I can't recognize the title, but maybe I know the song.
I'll send it to you afterwards.
Oh, thank you. And what's one thing you'd want someone listening to take away today, or the number one piece of advice you give to your younger self?
Just have fun. Like, literally just do what you can to enjoy it as much as possible, and the results will come. Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Do what you can and let those results come, and always keep the fun, guys. So thank you so much, Lucy. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you.
I think you've given a lot of value. You've made some great points, and your journey's been really inspiring, and wish you the best of luck over this coming season.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. This really helps to get the content out there. And I want to make this podcast the best possible for you. So go follow Fitter, Faster, Happier on Instagram. That's Fitter, Faster, Happier, to leave your questions, comments, and feedback, and for updates and guest requests. All the best for the week ahead, guys. Run happy, live happy, be happy.